because your grandfather died in 78 at the age of 73 with the a horrific event that, by the way, before even doing the interview with you, I've seen that video God knows how many times in Puerto Rico when that event took place.
Yes.
And he's doing a walk, and I won't show the video, but I'm sure the viewers are going to see it. I don't want to show while you and I are talking. So he dies in 78 when he's doing this stunt, walking across 2 waterfront hotels. I think it's like not a big distance that he went across, but he did it, and he falls and hits the car and dead on arrival to the hospital. You're born a year later. So you never really had a chance to spend time with him, because I think you're a 79 baby and he passed away in 78.
That's correct.
What mindsets from your grandfather and your family was passed down to you? Like, what stories have you heard about how he was at the dinner table? What are the family talking about?
They talked about that he was just an amazing man of inspiration. He was a very driven individual. A lot of his traits were passed on to me. It's interesting. There are 17 of us that still walk the wire to this day, but I have a different drive than the rest. You've heard of Nik Wallenda, and I would say the reason is because of that drive. I've had the drive to walk across the Grand Canyon, for instance. I've had the drive to continue to push. You know, walking across Niagara Falls took changing 2 laws in 2 countries that were over 100 years old. Yep. That was just to get permission to do the walk. So that process takes a lot of tenacity and a lot of grit. And that is something that he certainly passed on to me. My parents say it's so interesting how within a 9-month span of his death, I was born, and there are so many similarities, and I never met him. But I will tell you that growing up, I was always told of these stories on how he was always willing to push the limits, how he was always willing to step out of his comfort zone, how he would return to the wire. 1962, fatal accident, 2 family members killed, 1 paralyzed in Detroit, Michigan. My great grandfather, not only was he injured severely, but he snuck out of the hospital against the doctor's orders just to get back on the wire the following day because he had that drive. And there are so many parallels between his life and mine.
And by the way, crazy data is he was born, I think, January 21st, and you're born January 24th. You guys are 3 days apart.
That's correct.
I know you're a Christian man, and you probably don't even look at the data matching, all that other stuff. But for me, my entire life, I ask people about birthdays, and it's amazing how you guys have a similar personality, and your birthday's 3 days apart. So, you know, when I see the video, I've seen it multiple times. I have to tell you, I can't help myself, but my stomach gets uncomfortable. Yeah. We had one of our guys just walked in here before doing the interview, and he watched a couple of the videos, and he has vertigo, and he lost it right there. He's like, I can't even watch it. It's like, you have to step away. How often, like, when's the last time you saw the video of your grandfather in Puerto Rico? And when people want to play it for you, do you look away, or are you comfortable seeing that one?
I would tell you that is a video that I've seen hundreds of times. In fact, I had a series on the Discovery Channel, and it was really the science and engineering behind what we do. And in that series, I had the honor of recreating that walk that he fell and lost his life from. And there, again, many parallels. In fact, he was on the sidewalk and was interviewed by a reporter moments before he went up to the wire. I was interviewed by that exact same reporter on that same sidewalk moments before I went up on the wire. So many parallels. But during that series, we did a bunch of research, and we had a bunch of geriatric specialist doctors watch that video in slow motion over and over again. And what we've always were told is that the reality of why he lost his life was because that wire was rigged improperly. And we know that for sure. In fact, the way it was stabilized was improper. Rather than that wire being rock solid, which what he was accustomed to, it actually moved quite a bit because of those stabilizer ropes that were coming off of it. And he was trained and prepared for any stable wire. But the reality was at 73 years old, your heart isn't prepared to take the amount of adrenaline and the adrenaline rush that he would have gotten from an unstable wire. And they say that he didn't notice that it was unstable. In fact, my father was supposed to be there to rig it, as well as my uncle, and they both had previous engagements. Actually, my dad had to stay home because my mom had just had a miscarriage and he was there with her. So he had a couple other guys on his crew set it up, and they took a couple shortcuts. And in the end, what that did was it caused his adrenaline to go up to the point where we believe he went into cardiac arrest, went down to the wire, which is what we're all trained to do. And we'll talk about the accident in 2017 where I did just that. He went down to the wire to hold on. And at that point in cardiac arrest, he couldn't hold on. And that's in the end what caused him to lose his life. It wasn't the wind. It wasn't a lack of balance. It was actually, we believe it was an unstable wire. And then of course, the fact that he couldn't take that amount of blood pressure into his heart.